Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'd like to follow the protocol that you introduced recently, the 3 minute.
Speak up and be bold.
All right, bold coming up. You recently introduced a 3-minute protocol that I would like to follow.
Such as?
In relaying a story and the...
You mean the pitch?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yes.
A few years ago, I created a couple of guided meditations, short stories with music.
All right.
And about 2 years ago, I decided to do a follow-up on that.
All right.
I wrote out one script and didn't really like it, so started writing another.
All right.
And wrote and wrote and wrote.
All right, so that is your call to adventure.
Okay.
That's part 1 of the pitch. Part 2 is what challenges did you create for yourself in this process?
It became obvious that it was turning into a book.
Oh, all right. Is that a challenge?
A series of books.
Yes.
And I could sense that there was the this or that potential playing in there. So every time I sat down to write, I simply affirmed that this was for my own enjoyment.
Yes.
And approached it in that way.
All right. So you transformed the challenge in that way, yeah?
I think so.
All right, so 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And?
So here I am. I've completed the book.
Yes.
And,
congratulations.
Thank you. And
now what excites you?
Yeah, exactly. Now there's the this or that I hear a voice saying, well, I don't want to, in 10 years' time, look back and find that I've not done anything with it. So I should get it published. I should find an editor.
All right. So are you placing conditions on yourself, or are you simply being excited about those particular ideas?
I would say the latter.
Without any expectation that anything has to come to fruition?
Well, yeah, that's
not so much.
That's the catch, yeah. I mean, I can tell that story, and some of it I believe, but there's an undercurrent.
Do you understand that the expectation, and by expectation we mean insistence on something working out in a particular way? Do you understand that that's what expectation means when we use it? Okay. Insistence that something has to come to fruition in a particular way. Things will always come to fruition, just not always in the way your physical mind thinks they should. That's why if you actually insist on it coming to fruition in a particular way, you actually close the doors to all sorts of other ways it could actually come to fruition, because you're placing conditions and limitations on how your higher mind could actually deliver the true manifestation that you need, whereas you're focusing on what your physical mind thinks it wants.
Right.
So if you understand that by having that expectation, by having that insistence, you're actually shortchanging yourself, one would think you would let that go and let yourself expand into the willingness to allow the higher mind to bring you what you need through other doors of other manifestation, of other ways of coming to fruition, instead of insisting that this must happen, and now this must happen, and now this must happen. If you are willing to just act on any component of this idea with the idea that just being that and acting on that is what excites you, without the insistence that it must lead to this or lead to that or come to fruition in a particular way, then you won't shortchange yourself. You won't cut yourself off from all the ways that it could manifest, which might be many times greater than your physical mind was capable of perceiving. Yes?
Yes, that makes sense.
Well, then if you understand that, why would you keep hold of the limitation and shortchange yourself?
I don't keep hold. I grab hold and then I let go.
All right, well, why would you ever even grab hold of it? Why would it be even a part of your vernacular?
You know, I think I do that in spite of my natural intuition.
But the only reason you would do that against your natural intuition is because your motivational mechanism must be connected to belief systems that have turned it around backwards. All of you have the same motivational mechanism. It works the same for everyone. You will always move toward what you believe is more beneficial, and you will always move away from what you believe is not beneficial, is less beneficial to you. If you are recognizing that you're actually continuing to choose something that is truly not beneficial, but you keep choosing it, then that means you've attached a belief to that thing that for some reason you've invented makes it actually appear more beneficial than the alternative, even though you might empirically or intellectually know the alternative will be more beneficial. If you don't choose it, then you haven't attached a belief to it that makes it appear more beneficial to what it is you're choosing.
Right.
So you have to find out what that belief is and detach it from the motivational mechanism. And once you do, the instant you do, and put your belief system in alignment and in the direction of what you instinctively truly know is in your best interest, that will be the direction you move in. Those will be the choices you make. That will be the behavior you exhibit. That's the only way that can happen, is if you have belief systems that are polarized to the opposite ends of your motivational mechanism. Yes?
Yes, yeah.
So, again, if you really understand this concept, understand that's how the machine works, understand that that's the nature and the structure of existence, then you will simply use it. If you don't use it, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Clear?
Clear. I think I understand it. And a few months ago, I started writing another book, which is about a third of the way through.
Yes.
And again, most of the time I'm comfortable with that. It just seems to be
all right, but we're not talking about the times you're comfortable. We're talking about the times you're not.
Uncomfortable, yeah.
Right?
Right.
Therefore, the question still remains. What reasons do you invent for choosing to be uncomfortable in your relationship to that circumstance? What conditions and expectations and insistences are you placing on it? What beliefs are you defining it with that choose you, in that sense, to feel uncomfortable with it?
Yeah, a consensus reality that says you should be doing that.
Consensus reality. I have a secret for you. You're the only one in your reality.
Okay.
The only one. The only way you can experience what you call consensus is by agreeing to with everyone. But it's your reality. It's your universe. So you get to say what makes sense for you. No one else can tell you that, and you know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, truly your universe. Really, truly, you're the only one in it. But you agree to create the apparency of sharing a universe with other beings, a multiverse, if you wish. But it has to be done by agreement. So if you simply no longer choose to agree with those ideas that are offered to you by other beings in other universes that don't work for you, then it won't matter what anyone else suggests. You will know whether or not it works. You can thank them for their advice and their offer and their perspective, and at the same time you can say, this works for me, this does not work for me. End of story.
Okay.
And it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
No one else is living your life. No one else is living your life. You are unique, and you get to say what works for you.
All
and
right.
Consensus reality is your creation anyway. Yes?
It is.
So stop arguing with yourself.
Okay. Another part of that is that
Yes.
I've shared this with very few people, but whenever I read a passage to my wife,
Yes.
I'll read a paragraph or so and then I'll just choke up with emotion.
Yes.
Which kind of indicates to me that what I call, quote, the characters in the book
Yes.
are, how do I say it, more than fictional.
We understand, as we have said, every form of consciousness is actually autonomous on some level. However, the idea of writing, the process itself, the experience itself, is also cathartic for the writer. It's part of your own therapy. To bring out the aspects of your own consciousness that are represented by the characters, and to integrate those aspects of your consciousness within the greater being that you are, so that you can start being more holistic. Yes?
Yes, yeah.
So of course it's going to process.
Yeah.
And when you get choked up and shed tears that are those kinds of tears, and you're letting go of ideas that don't work for you anymore, letting go of beliefs and definitions that are out of alignment with your true self, the tears literally contain the chemical constituents of those beliefs, and you're washing them out of your body.
Right.
Literally. So those are what you call tears of joy. Yes?
Yeah, very much.
Does that help you?
Tremendously.
Then I will say to you, right on.
And I'll say to you, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, how you doing?
Perfect, and you?
The same way here. I just came here, wanted to know how you could how could you master the law of attraction, like.
The law of attraction needs to be explained very clearly in the following way. Again, this has to do with outmoded definitions. Most of you have been taught, if you've been taught anything about the law of attraction at all, that you have to be a certain vibrational frequency to attract certain things that are representative of that vibration. And that is not incorrect, but it is an incomplete definition. It is an incomplete understanding. This is how the law of attraction actually works. Okay. You understand that you have already a core natural vibration that represents the unique you that you are, yes?
Yeah.
That core frequency beams from you all the time, just like a lighthouse beacon. You can't help it. You're always radiating that core vibration that represents the true natural you. Everything that is in alignment and is reflective of that core vibration is doing its best to get to you. Everything that is not representative of that core true vibration is doing its best to get as far away from you as it possibly can. The things that are out of alignment with your true vibration that seem to still stick around is not because you're not attracting what is in alignment, it's because you're not letting go of what is out of alignment. Everything that is attempting to get to you that is in alignment, if it's not coming to you, it's not because you're not attracting it, it's because you're keeping it at bay with your beliefs. So the idea of the law of attraction is not that you have to learn how to attract, it's not that you have to necessarily be the vibration of that thing in order to attract it precisely, though there is some truth to that. But more fundamentally, the idea is just stop keeping away the things that are trying to get to you that are representative of your true vibration, and stop holding on to the things that are not representative of it. That said, the law of attraction is really all about just letting go and letting in.
So it's just like forget about it and just like.
All right, if you want to put it in
you?
what you call a New York modality, yes. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Okay.
Just so, be yourself, act on your highest joy, let whatever belief systems that come up to your attention by acting on your excitement, let them serve you by recognizing that the reason they became conscious is so you could realize that they don't align with you, and in realizing that, know that you have let them go. Because once you identify a belief that's out of alignment with your true self, consciously identify it, it will automatically appear nonsensical and illogical because it doesn't belong to you. It came from someone else. And if you're holding on to someone else's belief, that makes you a belief thief. Give back what doesn't belong to you.
Okay. Don't
steal other people's beliefs. Once you identify that you've been carrying something around that doesn't belong to you, drop it instantly. And know that you have dropped it instantly just by identifying what it is. Now that you know, and if it's not yours, why would you want to drag it around? Things that don't belong to you weigh a lot. The things that belong to you make you feel light and free because they're in alignment with your energy. It's the things that don't belong to you that drag you down and make you feel heavy. Because you're attempting to carry around an energy that isn't you. And you weren't designed, you weren't built to do that. So
Okay.
that's why it tires you out. The only reason you get exhausted is because you're resisting the natural self and dragging around things that don't belong to you, which are heavy. Let them go. Run free. Lighten up. The quickest path to enlightenment is to lighten up on yourself. Yes?
Yes, yes.
Does this help you?
Yes, it helps me a lot. Thank you.
Yes.
I got another question too. I just want to know, how old is you?
At this particular moment, we are 210.
210?
But in another part of this conversation, I might be 137. In another part of the conversation, I might be 244. It depends on what needs to be accessed by my consciousness and what information needs to come through as to what portion of my total being I will access.
Oh, okay.
But generally speaking, my species lives to approximately, on average, about 300 of your years.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Okay. And like where you stay at, is it like in this dimension or like in this?
It is in another parallel dimension, another parallel reality that can seem just as physically real if you shift there as yours does to you, but it is another parallel reality that's invisible to you unless you shift your frequency to our reality, just as your reality is invisible to us unless we shift our frequency into your reality.
Oh, okay. And y'all look y'all look like the same like us, like human or?
Our planet, in that sense, is similar to yours, although a little bit different. It's a little bit smaller, it has more water, it has more oxygen. You could live there, you could breathe there with a slight adjustment. You might be a little bit dizzy at first because of the high oxygen content. We are approximately 111 million miles from our star. It is normally temperate all year round. We don't really have seasons. We don't really have an axial tilt. We do not, in that sense, thus then experience anything more or less than about 3 or 4 to 5 degrees maximum above or below about what you would call 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The idea, thus then, is that our shape is approximately 5 feet tall, whitish, gray skin coloration. The males have no hair, the females do. It tends to be white. Our eyes are larger than yours. Our heads are slightly larger than yours. Our bodies are, in that sense, thinner in general than most of yours. We are a hybrid civilization that was actually created as a genetic agenda, as a genetic program between human DNA on Earth and the DNA of another civilization you often refer to as the Greys, which are not really aliens, but a mutated species of humans from a parallel reality that destroyed their planet, and knew that the only way they could continue their civilization was to find viable human DNA, since they could no longer reproduce, and thus then they tunneled into your parallel reality to extract viable human DNA to create hybrid species such as myself in order for their civilization to continue. Does that help you?
Yes. Yeah. Yep, that helped me a lot. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Little bit of Galactic History 101.
Hello. Hi, Bashar.
Andrew,
How
you
doing?
good day.
I'm doing all right. I'm a recently new fan.
Speak up, speak up.
I'm a recently new fan. I've been paying attention to a lot of your work on
All
YouTube.
right.
I just want to thank you, and I really appreciate the work that you're doing.
You are welcome.
And also,
it is our pleasure.
On a note, I had 2 questions, and you
Yes.
already answered them before.
How
I got
synchronous
here, so,
of you.
Yeah, that was beautiful. So I have another one that's kind of
All
deeper
right.
for me. I recently been watching your work on ET Contact.
Yes.
And when I was young, I used to have these dreams. I had these dreams, and
Yes.
I would see it extraterrestrial. And
Yes, many
it'd
of
be-
those dreams are memories of actual contact.
And it was so intense, like
Yes.
I wanted to speak, but I couldn't.
Yes.
And I
Many
I
people
myself,
in those experiences experience what they call paralysis for a while. But that's just because you are shifting dimensions and don't understand how to move in that dimension yet.
Okay, that's crazy. Okay.
All right. I will assume you mean crazy good.
Yes, of course. I used to be scared, but recently studying up on it, I'm not
Yes.
really scared too much. I've been
That's all
open.
right. You educated yourself, and now you know you don't need to be scared.
Yes, sir.
This is all part of something you agreed to on a higher level, and we thank you for your participation in that program.
Okay. Well, recently I've had a more crazier dream.
Oh, more crazy goodness.
Yeah.
All right.
I was in a dream, and it was a whole lot of different stuff going on. But then, towards the end of it, I looked to my left, and I seen the the head of I'll say ET,
Yes.
and out of his mouth were coming bugs, and it just looked like it was decaying, and I felt kind of sorry for it, you know. And then
Well,
I
it
woke
wasn't
up.
literally happening. It was a projected idea, a symbol of something going on in the communication between you to give you certain information. It wasn't literally happening. It's a telepathic connection that is often depicted in pictures in that way.
So my question would be, how do I enhance that connection and try to work on
Are
it?
you acting every moment that you can on your highest excitement in life?
Yes, sir. Well, yes. I mean, yes, and then no. It ties to the first.
So in other
question.
words, the actual answer is no,
Yes.
not every moment.
Not every moment. Just,
All right, well, the more often you choose to do so, the more you will allow your life to be perceived by you as unfolding in the way that it needs to bring you any other information you need about everything going on in your life. So just continue to act on your highest joy with no expectation as to what the outcome ought to be, and you'll be in the correct frequency to act as the most receptive antenna for further information when you're ready for it.
Okay, well, I would say the only thing I'm not acting in my highest joy in is my relationships.
So,
I normally get with someone and I try to bring them to my, my world where I'm at, intellectual knowledge and stuff like that. But
well, you can share whatever you wish, but why would you want to make someone change if they don't prefer to?
ties into wanting to get married and settle down. I want to have that type of partner, like on the same.
You will not attract such a partner until you are the person you would marry yourself.
It makes a lot of sense.
That strike a chord,
Makes a
yes.
lot of sense. Okay.
All right, then you have your answer.
Yes, sir. Just one little question.
Yes.
This is personal right here. I don't know. Well, you are familiar with medical marijuana. I want
Yes.
to know, is it? I know it has healing properties, but I want to know because I'm for it, but I know it's a lot of people that says it's negative. What do you
It
think?
depends on how it is used. The thing in and of itself is not negative. It is a natural extension of your world. It is for the purpose of allowing, as a permission slip, insight into different dimensional planes, different levels of thought, different perspectives. If it is used in a positive way, it will always have a positive result, but it can be used, like anything, in a negative way, thus resulting in a negative experience. The idea of the particular plant you are referring to as marijuana is actually the first step down translator or ambassador, if you will, from the plant kingdom below the template level reality, the blueprint level reality where you actually design your physical reality. Then stepping that down, you will find that marijuana is of the particular frequency that is the frequency that represents stepping the blueprint down into physical materialization. That's why when people on your planet use that particular substance, they are taken to a place where the reality starts to have a different perspective and starts to melt and flow in a different way. And the sensation of solidity is much weaker because you're seeing yourself, in a sense, and your consciousness much closer to the template level reality, which is not exactly physical. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes. it does.
Remember that all these things are guides and teachers. And when used in a positive way, paradoxically, the idea is, if it is being used as a guide and a teacher, one of the things it teaches you is that once you have experienced that state of being, you're capable of simply replicating that state of energy anytime you wish without necessarily needing the physical substance from that point forward. So, the idea of using it and using it and using it and using it and using it as a crutch is a negative way to use it. The idea that you can't get there without it is a negative way of looking at it or defining it. The idea that it's teaching you how to learn to be in that state yourself without it is the point.
Okay.
And thus then, once you are allowing yourself to vibrate at that energy level on your own, you will actually find you're more capable of communing with that plant telepathically, and it can teach you much more than it can if you actually physically use the substance. Because now you have attained a different level, a more refined level of the vibration, and once you're in communion with the plant on that level, a whole new dimension and a whole new world opens up of information to you. That's why you instinctively say you get high. You actually need to raise your vibration to really get high without using the substance. Once you know what that feels like, once you know what the state of being is, all you have to do is remember any time that you felt that way and you are actually in that state at that moment. Go and talk to the plant and see what happens when you're in that state.
True.
Yes?
I feel high right now. You're right.
All right.
You're right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bashar. Appreciate it.
Hi, Bashar.
And you, good day.
I have a couple of questions for you.
If you insist.
Definitely. I do. The first one is about something that happened recently.
Yes, such as?
Someone close to me experienced a few symptoms that we call like vertigo.
Yes.
So you mentioned it as saying that the room kept spinning. And
Yes.
this was for 3 consecutive days.
Oh,
like not being able to.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I guess, but I couldn't.
You guess?
Well, I had to help him pretty much like walking or going anywhere without being able to
All right,
go
well,
anywhere.
maybe you didn't need to go anywhere. Maybe you needed everywhere to come to you.
Definitely. But what I thought was interesting is obviously, the doctor, we went to check if the vitals,
Yes.
everything was good. I didn't find any problem. So they just gave him a motion sickness
Yes.
medicine that did not help. So
All
he just
right.
went away on his own.
Yes.
What I found interesting is that just a couple of days later, someone else close to me called me from Italy
Yes.
and shared with me the fact that for the past few days, they use this word, the word keeps spinning.
Yes.
And they had the same type of experience. So
Yes.
I don't
You were
really believe
spinning up your frequency.
Yeah, but since I don't believe in coincidence, I was wondering what is happening. Is this some type of symptoms that's
It
happening
is
to
a
me?
typical symptom of raising your vibration, of expanding your consciousness, that you become more sensitive to higher energies, and sometimes it takes a little time for you to acclimate. When you start to acclimate, when you start to go through the process of acclimating to a higher frequency energy, one of the symptoms can feel like spinning up.
Okay. And is there any way I can assist them?
Act on your highest excitement. It's the complete kit. Act on your highest excitement. It's the driving engine and the organizing principle of everything that needs to happen in your life. It's a holistic kit. It has all the tools. Just do that. Everything that needs to happen will happen if you keep acting on your excitement with no expectation for what the outcome ought to be. That's
Okay.
the complete kit. The fact that you allowed yourself to connect to another person experiencing the same thing shows you that you are connected on that level. Thus, then, you are making yourself more aware of more of the energetic connections you already have. You're making those connections visible, tangible, experiential. When you go to a higher level, you start to really feel, see, experience all the web of energetic connections that you have. So this
Okay.
is one of the symptoms of ramping up your vibration, upgrading your frequency, so to speak. Yes?
Okay, understand. Thank you.
All right.
Now, the second question, I guess maybe is more a clarification. Today I'm speaking not just for myself, but for the person incarnated as my mother,
All right.
with who I'm on this adventure in finding and remembering who we are.
Yes.
So there is this thought in the past few years, and especially in these past 6 months, that keep popping up in my mind.
Which is
pretty
what?
Frequently, that is say that your name is universally known. So my name is universally known, not just me, but for each of us.
Yes.
And what I understand that to be is that higher frequency being are able to tell, recognize our unique vibration and know
Yes.
where we are every given time and what
Yes.
we're up to.
Yes, higher frequency consciousness recognizes individual patterns and vibrations in much the same way that as you walk through a garden, you recognize individual flowers and colors and properties.
Okay, that's what I thought. And lately I've been feeling as if it's not just the thought, but now it's like it's a being that is inviting me to remember the agreement
Yes.
that I've made
Yes.
before incarnating here. And
Yes.
And I feel that this being is actually one of those spies we were talking about before,
Yes.
that I envision as like a higher vision of myself.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes I can even get a glimpse of it, like when I look at myself in the mirror.
Yes. Again, that's another symptom.
Wow.
when you expand your consciousness, many times you'll actually be able to see, like an overlap, like a double or triple or quadruple or whatever exposure, some of the other beings to which you are connected simultaneously. You're receiving the information in a visual way.
So then my question to you is, what resources do I have, or what definition do I have to work on to be able to access that information and remember the agreement that I made before?
You don't necessarily have to remember the agreement in a particular fashion. Whatever themes, whatever challenges are the greatest challenges you face, that is usually representative of the agreement and the theme that you made to explore in this life.
So I should look for them in my challenges. That's where I should be
Yes,
able to.
yes. Look for the theme in your challenges. That's why you have challenges, because those are the themes you wanted to explore. Those are the things you want to transform. So that is a description of who you have defined yourself to be as a being on this journey, in this process. But please also remember, the journey is the destination. You're not trying to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Where you are is where you need to be. And a full appreciation of that is the point. The journey is the destination. The process is the goal. The experience itself is all there is.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'd like just to add that I'm really looking forward to be reunited with all of you and our
All
Galactic
right.
family.
Thank
so
you.
I'm excited.
We are looking backwards to it.